Hello everyone and welcome to another video tutorial. Today we are rebuilding a webinar invitation email sent by Zoom. We will start by designing the header and overall layout of the email. We have already designed the email header block and saved it, so we simply navigate to the panel on the left, click on blocks, then drag and drop our pre-saved header. Next, click on Elements, select a box element and add it as a new block. Using the breadcrumb menu, click on Block, then Content on the right side panel. Switch on the Separate button and add right and left borders in light gray. Click in the center of the empty box to open the box styling settings and change the box background color to gray. Scroll up and add left and right margins, then add a 5-pixel border radius to make the box's edges look softer and more modern. Now we will start adding content inside our box. Drag and drop a columns element, add mobile spacing in between the two columns. This space will only show on mobile devices. Add a box inside the left column where we will insert our first text element, Intro to Zoom Webinars. Using the panel on the right, change the text font, size, and color. Duplicate the text element to add details about the upcoming demo. Make the necessary styling edits to each text element. Next, drag and drop a button, and again, on the right side panel, you can style the CTA. Change the font type, size, and color. Change the button background color and border radius, and so on. Next, drop an image element and double-click to open the gallery. Select your image and you're good to go. On the mobile preview, you can see how the two columns are stacked nicely and adapt perfectly to the device type. Now we will move on to the next block in our invitation email, which is the webinar schedule or agenda. We'll start by duplicating the title element and dropping it in a new block. For this block, we'll add a 20-pixel top padding and continue the light gray left and right borders. We'll be adding a columns element and adjusting the padding and border settings. In the left column, we are inserting another column element, and each column has its own settings and can be edited like any other content block. We added a text element here where we will specify the date of the webinars. We want the day and the month to be separated by a fine gray line, but only on desktop. So drag and drop a divider element and switch the Show on Mobile option in the element visibility settings. We also want to adjust the width of the first column. So using the little handle, we will move the column's border to the side and make it smaller. You can also adjust the width of the column using this field on the right. Moving on to the next column, we are adding a text element here and making the usual edits to the content size, padding, and etc. And in the final column, we are adding a button that we simply duplicated from the call to action above. You see here that thanks to the detailed settings, we can create a ghost button simply by changing the background color to white and adding a thick border. Looking at the preview, our columns are looking nice and responsive, both on mobile and desktop. Let's move on to the next section. Select the multi-column block and click on the duplicate icon and simply change the content details, but with a little twist. In this section, we want to introduce the speakers, so right above the call to action, drop another column element and then drop an image element. Double-click, open the gallery, and choose your speaker photo. And now reinsert the button on the right of the image in the empty column, resize it, and we're good to go. Here's another way to design a webinar schedule. Add a column element in a new block, and then add a speaker image and the text details we created earlier. So we're basically repurposing the previous block elements, but with different content. Underneath the speaker image, we're adding his name, and we're resizing the image to better fit the content across it. We want this left block to appear last on mobile, so using the breadcrumb menu, locate the multi-column element and take right to left. Now on the preview, you can see that the columns have been reordered only on mobile, just like we intended. And now, moving on to the last block, we'll show you another way you can design a webinar schedule block. We'll reuse the latest block we've just created and then switching the column content. So simply move the image column from left to right. We don't need the name tag here, so we're gonna go ahead and delete it. Open the gallery to select another image. We want the two columns to have the same size, so click on the equalize button on the right, and we also don't need the date details, so just delete that and then replace the rest of the content as needed. Now to finish up our email, we will add the footer that we already pre-designed and saved. So like we did in the beginning, open the saved blocks from the left panel and select the footer. Next, to change the email background color, select body from the breadcrumb menu and then change the background color to gray. After finishing up the email design, all you need to do is click on export, then HTML, and then export. Your HTML code will be generated and start downloading in a few seconds. Open it and you can see that the email size is really minimal compared to the complex layout we put together. You can use your HTML code on any email client and it will render perfectly. In only a few minutes, we put together a professional-looking webinar invitation with a lot of information and a beautiful design. If you want to try it out, you can start your free trial on Chamaileon in the link down below. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in our next tutorial.